So this is automating creativity in pictures. I really don't believe in words for slides, so I try to do all my slides with pictures. I'm Chris Rickwood. I'm a composer for video games. Did games like Smite, Paladins, Age of Empires Online, the Orcs Must Die series, Madden NFL, other stuff, Cartoon Network games, just a lot of stuff. Right now we're working on Smite, Brawlhalla, doing the sound for Brawlhalla, and other stuff I don't think I could talk about. But basically I've been in this weird place where I'm asked, for example, in Smite, to do, characters. We do characters every 2 weeks, and there's usually like 4 to 6 of them, and it's just constantly these new things, but they're all basically the same, right? So they have a melee swing, or if they're shooting something, they're doing magic, and then there's an ultimate. There's all this, these basic abilities, and then there's footsteps, but they're all kind of in this template. And after a while, you're like, well, I've made 30 ice swishes for the other characters. How do I make this next ice swoosh in like one day with, and try to make it unique? So I've really just been thinking about, turning that into a process, and, using these tools that we have in front of us to kind of do a lot of the work for us and take a lot of the mundane work out, like file naming and project naming and other kind of things. So I'm trying to find these processes where I can automate it and also randomize things. So I'm not making the same I sound all the time. I'm making an I sound plus blank, and it's good that we have these tools to help us, help inspire us, as well as, get all the other mundane things out of the way. So that was my last slide. Any questions? For example, one automated thing, this has nothing to do with music, but since the desktop is here, I've been into this like nature thing because I'm in my studio 24/7, and it's, there's a window, but the scenery never changes. So I was like, it'd be cool to like have a different scenery on my desktops so that it just seems like I'm outside. But I didn't want to just use the standard ones, and I don't have time to download them. So I'm using the Reddit Earth Porn, where they have like the best like landscape photography, and then people vote on them and they get upvoted or whatever. So I have a process using if then that, you guys know that, ifttt.com, that goes to Reddit, finds the latest posts, pulls it down to my machine, and then puts it on a desktop. So this, like every hour, will like shift my desktop, so I'm seeing all these places I've never been from my studio. So when I'm starting a project, like I'm talking about, I'm basically going to go through 2 things, some sound design things and some music things. I'm really just going to show like how I use this to spark ideas and also make working with stuff that I have to do all the time a little bit quicker. Let me just take a quick poll, like who's a sound designer in here? Okay, who's a composer? 3, I know a little bit. Who is neither, but just kind of interested in automation? Oh, interesting. I'm not going to get too deep into like the automation, but I'm just going to kind of talk about the tools. Like if you're looking to see like what is he scripting to do that, and I'll show the scripts and stuff. But for the most part, it's more of just hopefully to show you like some things you might not be aware of in automation that can help you. So if you're like a hardcore programmer, you're going to be super like, if then that, that's what you're using, that's it. But anyway, so the first part that I figured out was like, I'm always making new projects, right? So we'll make one for Siege, and I'll misspell it. And then we'll put this up, and it's like, okay, every time I have a new project or a new client, I'm doing the same folder system. So why not automate that? And I'm using Keyboard Maestro to do that. Unfortunately, this is going to be mostly Mac-based, but I'm sure there's some kind of PC equivalent to this. But basically, Keyboard Maestro is a key macro. So you can push one button and it'll do a bunch of little things like make folders and whatever, and you can script it and everything. But I'll make a folder for that project. If I select it, I just hit this finder and do project folder creation, and it will put in, resources. It'll make a video folder for where I have like cinematics, and then like sessions, which are broken out into music sessions, sound effects sessions, and voice sessions. So already I don't have to create those 5 things, so it's out of the way. And then when I want to do, assets, right? So I have all these broken out. It's like, okay, for these characters, we're going to have a basic attack, we're going to have ability 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to like make that every time I do a new asset. So it's like, okay, I'm going to work on the basics. So I'm just going to hit this macro, finder, new Reaper sound effects project, and then I'm going to call it something, and we'll just call it like Siege Basics, and then boom, everything runs for me. It's going to open up Reaper. It's going to open up my what I call an assembly project, and it's going to open up a source project, which is kind of like a playground for me, and just has all the plugins and stuff ready to go. And that threw it in that folder I just created. With those 2 projects, under Siege Basics, under Sound Effects. So I didn't even have to think about where I'm putting it. I was already there, did that, and I'm already ready to design once this loads up. It takes just a second to load up because it's loading up a lot of plugins. But the takeaway there is like, get that out of the way, right? Because that's always going to be the same. And what's great about that is hopefully you don't have to think about naming conventions, and you get used to this. So finding things is really easy. Like organizing is already kind of done for you. So let's get to the actually creative part though. Is anybody interested in how I did that, by the way? Okay, so I just thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, let's slow down here. Keyboard Maestro, which they disappeared from my menu. Oh, there it is. Let's launch that up. So this is kind of what it looks like. And there's, for any kind of program you have, it breaks it up into folders. So if you're doing stuff in the Finder, which is the Windows Explorer, you can have macros just for that. So you're not like triggering stuff like global things if you're in certain apps. So if I hit, Command F in one app, it will be different from Command and F in another app. So this is my Reaper one. So I did the project folder creation, which all it's doing is getting that folder that I set up, and then it runs a for each, which is a loop, and it's looping through whatever folder it just got. Really, there's only one, but this is the easiest way to do this. And then it's creating those folders, each one of these steps to create folders, just creating those folders in that that hierarchy. So that was that first one I did. And then the second one, which this one's a little more clever, does kind of the same thing, but it's prompting me, right? So first it's going to ask me the name of the project, that it sticks it in a variable called project name. And then it does the for each again on the folder that I'm selected on, and it says make this folder based off the project name now. So you can't have variables. So it's creating that project folder within the folder that I just made in that last step. And it's actually just copying my 2 template Reaper projects that I have set up into that folder. So I can continually like update my template, and this will always pick up my latest one and then copy them into Reaper or to that folder. And then the last 2 steps is open up Reaper with that project that I just copied, and then open up Reaper again, and it'll see that it's open, so it won't open it again. It'll just activate it with the other project. So the two of them will be in the tabs. Pretty crazy, right? But pretty simple, and it like saves you a ton of time. Yeah.
Can you assign? You said you could press buttons on your keyboard, but can you assign other buttons? Like say you had a MIDI controller and you wanted to.
Absolutely, you can't. Actually, this Keyboard Maestro, which is weird, does have a MIDI trigger.
That's awesome.
So at the top here it says triggered by any of the following. Right now it's just that menu. If I click on that, it'll say you can put a hotkey on it. You can type. That's not the right thing.
Type a word.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here they are. So you could type a word, and I do this for like date stamps, right? If I'm always I have the same formula for whenever I'm delivering an asset. It'll be blah, 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 underscore 200701. But I don't have to type that out. I just type, what is it, semicolon DS, and that's my datemap, and it'll replace it. If you guys are on Mac, the text expander is probably the biggest one most people use, but you could do it in Keyboard Maestro. But yeah, there is a thing down here where is it like MIDI trigger, so you can hit like C1 and it'll fire off this. It's crazy. Like I don't even know who like said they wanted that, and I'm trying to find. Like I used to use that, but then I found out like once I started composing, I'm like, why is my computer going crazy? It's like, oh, I have this stupid macro on that like I did like 5 days ago just as a test, and like it's like opening projects and stuff. So I don't use it. They did, I think, for the last version, make it where you can set up MIDI things, like you could send MIDI CC and stuff through the actions. So you could hit a key command and it do MIDI things, like as a macro, I think. If not, that would be cool. But you see all the other things, like, cron triggers, if you hook up to Wi-Fi, if you're idle, it does time-based things. It's really, really powerful if you don't have that. Anyway, so let's actually get to the creative part here. And this is my Reaper project. How many people use Reaper? Cool, you should totally be, because I'm going to show you why. This is kind of like, if you saw Matt's Ableton sales pitch, this is going to be my kind of Reaper sales pitch. Neither one of us get anything from that, though. So I don't know if you guys did this. I got this from a friend of mine where he does this assembly project where this is where you'd make the final assets, but then this project is purely source creation where you can just go crazy and not have to be organized and all that. And that's why I set it up. So I'll just go over this a little bit. I don't know if you can read that, but I'll try to do it. So the first thing, there's video up here in case I want to put video in there and like kind of do syncy kind of things. I'll just throw it at the top. The second one is record, and this is kind of the most important. If you guys are using Reaper, don't use this. Put all your stuff under this record folder. I throw a limiter under there just to not go crazy. You don't have to have that because of the floating point stuff, but if you click on the record button and set this to record output stereo, everything that goes out of your bus, like your mix bus, will come back into that and get recorded when you hit record. So basically what I'm saying is anything under this folder, I can hit record and start playing and it'll record it on that top folder. So it's like capturing everything you're doing. If you don't have Reaper and want to do that, because I suggest you do that. When you're playing around, you just want to record everything, right? Use Audio Hijack. That's another great thing to just capture stuff that's coming out of your output. So that's the most important thing. And then I have here the first four that are in blue are basically synths. So Mach 5 is a great sampler. What's great about it, it has this granular synth, the Earcom granular, which is crazy good. Like you could stop audio and it not sound like it stopped. Well, it does, but it doesn't sound all jittery like most of the time. And I have a contact bank set up if I want to, do sample things, 2 of those. And then I have synths. Because I found, and this is how you guys should think about it. You should think about things that you're doing all the time and say, there's got to be a better way than me always like loading up a synth, finding that synth, and then like going through presets or whatever. No, I was like, no, I'm just going to put them all on this track. And I always use Diva, Zebra, Absinthe, Chip Sounds, or Massive. So they're all there ready to go. Like Diva is set up. All I have to do is hit it and it does not play. Pretty cool. You know what I gotta do maybe? Is the preference. Built-in output. This is gonna be a really bad talk if none of this, like, you can't hear it. Oh, whoever uses Reaper should have busted me, so I don't have that activated. All right. So yeah, so I'm ready to go. I always want these. Always, right? So who doesn't use that? But the point being, like, my synths are ready to go. I don't have to think about it. It's like, I wish I had that little sub-sine tone. Pop that open, boom, hit record. So I'll show you how this record works. Let's reactivate that. Yeah, perfect. So I just hit record and go, boom. MIDI's recorded, audio's recorded. Then I can just hit C, Command C on that, and then start assembling it over here. Right? Come on. That should have been, you guys should have been standing for that. I feel like that's a big deal. All right, so under that, yeah, thank you. Under that are the things Matt mentioned, which is whoosh, which every sound designer in here should have. Because you just make whooshes really quick, but I don't have to like load it. I just toggle it and then start playing. Like that's how that works. And it doesn't come out because it's deactivated. Why? No, that one's activated. That's weird. Why are we terrible at this? I'm terrible at audio. Oh, there's no. There's no sources. So I have two. I have two of these. I'm all flustered for our lunch. Man, I was freaking out. I wasn't gonna get here. Okay, so Whoosh has two different things. It has one that has presets, and then it has one that you can put your own samples in. That's the one you can put your own samples in. So I have that set up, but I'm not going to do that. This is the cool one that just has the presets. It's like, I need some whooshes. Let's do that one and hit play, and it'll do that, and it's ready. I didn't hit record. Oh, I stopped it. Is that too loud? So there, I got two whooshes, done. I'm gonna chop that and put it in the game, and I'm gonna charge $3,000. All right, so, and then the other one, like Matt took all my stuff. So there's Slayer, same thing, and then Reactor, which he showed too. That's Monarch set up, but I could put any, just, so I have all that stuff ready. Then there's this cool thing called Morph, which has kind of complicated routing, so I just have that in my template, so I can throw a sound down here and then put another sound up there, and they'll morph into each other. But this is where the cool automated stuff happens, after all that stuff, right?
Can you show that?
What?
Show more?
Oh, sure. This is, I guess I can actually show you a sound in that, just to show how that works. I'm gonna see. This is a really cool. This, so there's an airplane. I don't even know what these are, but there's an airplane and something else. Like playing them together, and there's different processes, and as you move this around, kind of moves the mix of it. So I think that was ambience. Tarmac ambience was the plan. So it sounds like morphed. It's through like something you can hear that better with, like growl.
Now that's not just simple crossing, right?
No, it's morphing. I mean, it can be. So yeah, it's spectral. Silent Head, right? Yeah.
Do you remember the routing?
No, that's why it's in my template. I honestly can't. I did it once and I was like, I'm gonna save this as a preset. Right? I could use that. Cool. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but so this is my sound library. And one thing I was like, you know what, it would be cool, and Basshead has this, and I think Sound Designer does too. It's like, it'd be cool if I could just get random sounds out of there. So I spent a day, probably 5 days, I'm gonna say a day, to where I could read a dictionary of nouns, pop up that dictionary, and copy it into my search. So if I hit Control S, you'll see that changed to violin. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
And then I'll hit Control S again. There's premeditation. No premeditation sounds. Glasses. So I'm not. Oh God, you gotta double click it.
Is that in Rickwood?
No. Oh, the media browser is. The random search is not.
That's in Keyboard Maestro, right?
It is in Keyboard Maestro. So I'll show you that because that's kind of cool. I figured that would have gone into place. I really misjudged what you guys would think was cool.